everybody, hola, tudo bem? Today we're going to talk about plural words, right? So how to make words plural, nouns, all those kind of things. It's much more complicated than just adding an S, right? So we're going to see how it's done. Let's go. So if we have a word that ends with an A, that is the simplest case, right? So we can say the tables, right? So the table is a mesa, right? So to make it plural, you're going to just as mesas. Very easy, right? Something ends with an E, for example. Let's do an example. So if we say the test, right, like an exam, right? We say o teste, right? Os testes. So for I, or E as we say in Portuguese, the only thing I can think of is taxi, right? This comes to my head. Taxi, right? So taxi would be os taxis, right? Fairly simple. Actually, I'm sorry, the accent is here, not on the I. Os taxis. Os taxis. O livro, the book, right? Would be os livros. For something with U, we could certainly say something like this. Chapéu, which is like a hat, sort of like a fedora, not like a baseball hat, just like an old-time kind of hat. Os chapéus. Fairly simple, right? In this case, you more or less just add the S, okay? But it will become much more harder, as you see right now. Okay, everybody's gonna get a little bit complicated now. So if we have a word that ends with AO ending, right? So sometimes it depends on the article. Other times you just have to memorize it. There's really no exact science. Sometimes it does get a little confusing. So let's just start with the easiest example I thought of. And if it's with an O, the brother, o irmão. Os irmãos. A-O-S. Os irmãos. Os irmãos. Now for something with an A, let's say criação, the creation, you know, his craft, his invention, the creation, right? Not biblically, I mean, something that someone invented, right? That someone made. A criação, as criações, O-E-S, right? Actually, it's a little bit difficult to think of one with the A and then that had this ending. I mean, like I said, it's not an exact science. Sometimes it gets kind of irritating. You can also say, right, so if a credit card would be a cartão, right? So you can make it cartões, cartões, right? And then how about this? If it doesn't really have an article, right? If you're not talking about the brother or the airplane or whatever you're talking about. If you're just talking about something in general, so let's say bread. Bread is pão, right? Pão. Plural of breads would be pães, right? So if you want to buy bread, like this is a good culture thing right here. I'll teach you. So in Brazil, they do have bread like we have, like sliced loaf bread, like in the United States. But something else is very common. It's called French bread. They got pão francês. It's sort of like I wouldn't call it a roll, and I wouldn't call it like a sub sandwich, you know, like a Subway roll either. It's kind of a weird hybrid. I don't even know what we call it. They call it French bread, but it's not French bread like we have in the United States. It's not like a baguette or anything. So I encourage you to look it up on Google. Anyway, so when you go to the store, they have it fresh typically, and you'll ask for it. So say if you want 5 of them, you know, you'd say cinco pães, 5 breads. Right? If you just want one, you'd say pão. But really, you'd always want more than one. 5 pães, right? That's pretty much how it goes. For cartão, I believe it is an O article. Let me take a look. Yeah, it is an O, right? So it'd be O, cartão, os cartões. Like I said, I had to take a look just because sometimes it's very strange. Like you'll think something has an O article, but it doesn't, or has an A, but it doesn't. And then when you try to make a plural, it really throws you off. So, so here's a good example. O irmão, right? It ends A-O-S. But o cartão ends O-E-S, right? So it is kind of tricky. And I know that this lesson is definitely not going to teach you everything you know. It really just comes down to memorizing and noticing things. If you're walking down the street or reading a book or a magazine, you'll see things from time to time. So that's what you need to do. So let's move on to the next slide. So if something ends with IL, give an example. Perfil, like a Facebook profile or that kind of thing, profile, be like this. Perfis. It's kind of difficult. Perfis. So something ends with an L, just an L, not an IL. My favorite example is animal, or animal, right? Becomes os animais. Right? So anything that ends with an IL gets chopped off and turned into an IS. Anything ends with an L, it's just an L, becomes an IS afterward. Another thing is that sometimes there'll be accents on certain words, right? So I'll give you an example like fácil. Right? Fácil means easy. And I always have trouble saying this word. Oops. Fácil. Trouble saying it when it becomes plural. Fáceis. 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 Perfil, perfais. Fácil, fáceis. O animal, os animais. So when you do make things plural, sometimes it does get tricky when you try to pronounce it. So it just takes practice. Okay, so if something ends with an M, let's do viagem, right? Trip, a voyage, a journey, right? Would be os viagens, right? So then we can also say for S, or I'm sorry, for R, so I have professor would be os professores, right? Simple enough. So if something ends with an S, sometimes it gets a little bit tricky because you may not even add anything at all. So for glasses, right? Glasses are oculus. Right? Oculus. So, you know, it's 2 lenses, so 1 pair of glasses, or oculus, right? Like plural, glasses, if you have many pairs of glasses, it would be oculus. Same exact thing. I'll give you 2 more examples with S. So mês is a month, right? O mês, os meses. Okay? Now, here's another strange example. Lápis. Lápis, pencil, right? Or lápis. Same exact thing. Os lápis. So sometimes, like oculus, glasses, you just add an S. Same thing with pencil, lápis, just add an S. Other times, you can actually add the ES, right? So it really just depends. And for Z, one good example is the word rapaz. 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 Rapaz is like a slang word for like boy, kid, you know, that kind of thing. And in that case, you would just add Yes. So that's it. Fairly simple. So thanks for hanging with me. I know this lesson was maybe a little bit short, though, as I said, a little bit boring, a little bit annoying. But when you are speaking, you do have to make words plural, right? So like I said one more time, thanks for sticking with us, and hopefully we can do some more interesting lessons soon. All right, everybody, have a good one. Take care.